Well, I was looking into chemistry because I was thinking, I mentioned that this is a bond. Basically, North America and South America, before the Earth expanded, the continental crusts of each were perhaps bonded, double bonded, where one bond was through Florida, another bond through Mexico. Maybe also like this Mexico to this unit, and then this unit to South America might have also had like a spacing between each, kind of like how that it's not complete. So maybe it's like a different element. I'm just thinking like some element that bonds a large one, large mass element that bonds to a low mass element that bonds to that the low mass element is between the another high mass element and like as a intermediary, and these are maybe even molecules, portions of a molecule, where this is just some like conjoining like oxygen. Maybe that would make sense. Oxygen with a bond in two directions opposite one another. I can't remember chemistry that well, but I'm pretty sure oxygen has two bonds that are just like 180 degrees, kind of, where other bonds form at different angles. Oxygen bond angles. Although that's not quite 180 degrees or 180 degrees. Two unpaired valence. When I'm not sure what it's called when it's like a intermediary oxygen that kind of conjoins two molecules portions, because this isn't like a hydrogen over here. Like this is a molecule. This is oxygen. If this is oxygen, this is a molecule, and this is a molecule. Anyway, so I was looking around and I was kind of like, maybe this thing's like a noble gas, like it filled in. So anything that filled in is like a noble gas, maybe. So I was looking here, like, well, North America similarly is it's bonded across to what kind of is a unit here, but the bond is really long and threaded. Maybe. This looks like a shallogram too, a little bit. This here. And then this bond, though, from here to here, so it's kind of a similar thing, though. I'm not sure. It's been a while, again, since I looked at like that kind of information, because it's so specific and I didn't see it applicable to yet. I figured sooner or later it might arise, and I'm certainly not here, but here it seems to possibly be. Like here, so energy flowed here up into this region and swirled, but then it left this void, almost like a missing electron for the atom. So like had this filled, this would be maybe a noble gas, but because it has this missing electron, it bonds through maybe to the however it's chemically bonded. If this is happening, it seems like a plausible thing. But I was thinking, so I was looking over here, like, well, what about here? This seems unbonded almost, or maybe like it's even bonded some way to this unit somewhat, although in a like proximity bond, and somehow that's not like actually physically connected. Or maybe it's like at a different layer that's not visible as much. Like this is essentially bonded here, whereas it's probably not bonded quite, although maybe bonded through to that other unit as well here. Although that may not represent like chemistry, maybe some other like dimension of chemistry. where the surface has its own dimension of this that's not really the same molecule anymore. I don't know. But the reason I hit record is because I was looking over here and think, like, wait a minute. It's like, wait a minute, what is this? I started looking at this, like, what is this? Right here? This is weird. Like green, and then I realized, wait, this energy doesn't just swirl in here, it actually also, so maybe there's also electrons here missing, like here's an electron that needs a chemical bond in order to compensate, and it just literally is proximal to a system that makes up for it somehow by energetically, by maybe just by physically closing the gap so that it's a stable system and it doesn't have an opening anymore. But so I was like, oh wait, this cuts across here, across Greenland. So I was kind of thinking, well, what can that show me about Greenland? Then I was like, wait a minute, this cuts across here, like this cuts across here, Iceland. Again with the staggeredness of it, because it's like essentially it's like this thing emanates energy upward because it's a vortex that this passed tangentially by a particle here, or some system that then began to spiral because this flow was so narrow right here. It's a very narrow flow passing right there, where like here we see it still has the wall, so it's like the flow here wasn't as, so basically it was able to produce another tangential spiral vortex due to the tangential flow rather than through the center, like at the side here. And then it just cuts through, and in so doing influences a system here that then essentially begins to upwell its material, but through the polygonal shapes of the Earth's crust, so it preferentially moves upward and sideways to then emit from a opening here. Let's see. I can't measure distance. Where is this? Here. This is here. It's probably there. So like the center of this to here. 365.59 miles. Probably more. 200. Less. Feasible. That to me. Because for sure that's why Iceland was caused. And for sure we see it's staggered. So this here is staggered over to Mount Girnar. Alright then. Where is the South Atlantic anomaly? Because it's probably moving. This is my thoughts. I don't want to. It's probably moving to here to basically close the valve. Down the drain. Like a ticking time bomb. Honestly. I mean, unless you guys are fucking with me to make me say that. To be the one to force us through the struggle of the end times by making us have to go to Venus. Oh no, we had to do that. Don't blame me for all the dead in the wake. Surely I... And maybe that goes in, and that when that happens, the Earth explodes in a way, like reverses. It's in an excited state. Maybe I should stay underground. I don't think it's good that people know that I'm talking. What I'm saying, because especially at times like this. Oh, dear God. Dear universe. This isn't it. This is what I'm saying. So I'm like, well, then maybe it will like protrude, if you will, like blast off this chunk, some chunk here of whatever radius, out to space. Somehow it just is able to be habitable the whole time. En route to Venus. Everyone just tuckers in together like penguins. Everyone huddle up. It gets there. It's like off gas. Like as it heats up from the nearby system, it starts radiating gas out, but like perfectly in the opposing direction. Like, no, and just lands on it. And drills in energy to like boom, and then Mount Girnar exists again. Oh my God. Or maybe it just drills into the center of the Earth entirely, of the Venus, causes it to. Maybe that's what even causes its approach, causes Venus to split in half, like literally become two halves, and then Mount Girnar enters in, center of the one of the halves, and becomes the pre-expansion Earth, while the other half becomes the new moon. So that the pre-expansion Earth can be substantially smaller than the current Venus. While this Earth becomes Mars. Like, so enjoy your bunkers and deep underground military bases for the dumbs.